not like that. Just like, as in, they are now her
like
parents.
The start of a porn.
No.
Didn't I make you laugh? Didn't I make you smile?
Hi friends, it's Rory. Once again, my roommate is here. Today, my roommate, who hasn't read as many books as I have, is going to take a look at some of my books, and she's going to look at the cover, she's going to read the synopsis, and then she's going to tell me what it's about.
Alright.
So, are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
This is The Selection by Kira Cass. This is one of my guilty pleasure reads. So, take a look at it.
Oh, the name is The Selection.
The name is The Selection.
So, this is American Idol for royalty.
You've got to explain what you think the plot is.
Okay, the plot is this girl, apparently her name's America, is cast for, she's selected for a competition to where she can win a crown. And, oh, maybe it's like a Miss America. Maybe not royalty. Okay, so she's selected to go to a competition. This sounds really boring. So she's selected for a competition to win a crown. And so she's got to compete against 35 other girls to win this Miss America crown. But it sounds like if she wins, she gets a prince along with it. So I guess it's kind of a package deal. So it's like the mix between Miss America, American Idol, and The Bachelor. They're all competing to win a crown and take the hand of the prince. Which, if we all have ever watched a reality TV show, we already know this is going to come with drama and probably ruin your life. So, like all the girls who don't get picked on The Bachelor. I've never actually watched that show, so I'm just making assumptions. But, that's exactly what this sounds like. And I'm going to guess that along the way, she runs into a lot of problems, maybe murders a couple of the other girls. Drama, lots of drama. You got to get rid of the competition somehow. And I think at first she's like, oh, this is cool, I'm selected. But then, like, she probably falls under the spell of, like, I need to win this fucking crown. And I need to get this prince. And I need to be a princess. I mean, who doesn't want to be a motherfucking princess? So, except Kate Middleton, apparently.
You mean Meghan Markle?
Meghan Markle. I'm sorry, I went with the wrong one. Yes. Not Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton's the one who's enjoying being a princess. Now she's getting into this competition and she's getting up to it and she's getting really involved in it. And I'm going to guess she wins it at the end. That's how these books end.
So you got some stuff right.
Okay.
I enjoy the fact that you called it The Bachelor because literally the way people describe this is it's a mixture of The Bachelor and The Hunger Games.
Oh.
So, but there is no death.
Oh.
The only reason they're saying
I should have known that.
The only reason they're saying The Hunger Games is because it's a competition.
Oh.
So what this is that their society is separated into 8 castes.
Okay.
And depending on your caste depends on what types of jobs you can get. So, like, for example, number 1 is the royals.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 are, like, famous athletes, or famous, like, painters, performers, the celebrities.
Okay.
3 are, like, teachers and stuff like that, which, great job. They put their teachers way higher because they're important. 4s are, like, shop owners, things like that. They own their own business. 5s, which is what America is, are artists, and they're like upper lower class. Like sometimes their power will go out, but like they make it decently okay.
Okay.
Then you have 6s, which are indoor laborers, so you like your janitors and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have 7s who are outdoor laborers.
Okay.
And then you have 8s, which are technically not castes.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the homeless people.
Okay.
So she's a 5, and she's in love with a boy named Aspen, who is a 6. And so she wants to get married to him, but when she gets married, because this is a man's world, she's going to have to lower herself.
Okay.
So she's trying to find a way to convince her parents to let her marry him. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, the selection happens, which is when the prince needs to find a wife. Mm-hmm. And they take one girl randomly picked from each of the 35 different, like, states.
Okay.
This is based on, like, in the future, America is no
yeah.
longer there. That's why her name is America, because of reasons. And so she goes to, like, get her information taken. And, she finds out beforehand that, like, the mom of the guy she's fallen for said something about how he had a girl that he was really interested in. And so she gets really happy and she takes a great picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets picked. It's supposed to be random, but you find out in the third book that it's not random, that the king had been picking out every single one of them. Like, he picked out specific people to be picked, and then he threw in a couple of 5s just because, like, because no one below a 5 got picked, which wouldn't make sense, because the way it's a caste system works is like a pyramid, so you'd think more 6s would get chosen. She is forced to go. She doesn't want to, but before she goes, Aspen breaks up with her. And apparently he's perfect. That's the way she describes him. She's like, oh my gosh, he's perfect. But I never understood why she liked this boy. And you say that I like boring people, but, like, even I was just like, I never understood why she liked this guy. So she goes there. She doesn't want to be there. She hates her life. She hates everything right now. And she meets the prince, and he's handsome and cool. And she just goes straight up to him, and she's like, listen, I don't want to be here, but I know that you probably want someone on the inside to tell you if the person you're getting with is a good person. So you should trust me. I'll be that person for you. And then they fall in love. But along with that, there's a lot of political turmoil. Like, the king is a shitty person. And there's people who are constantly attacking the royal family. And there's a part where she makes a best friend who's a 4. The best friend gets caught with a palace guard, and they get publicly whipped.
Ooh.
And then...
Kinky.
Yeah. And then all that jazz. And
all that jazz.
This is one of my guilty pleasure reads.
Okay.
Like, I'm never gonna be like, oh my gosh, I fucking love this book, because every single person in here is an idiot. The best way I've ever heard anyone describe it is, while I was reading this series, I needed to read it in a place where my life was not in danger at any point possibly.
Okay.
So, like, if I was on a cruise ship and I was reading these books, pretend that I'm on a cruise ship and the ship is sinking. Just, like, come up to me and be like, the ship is sinking.
Women and children first. The ship is sinking.
Yeah, it's one second.
But we have your lifeboat.
Shh, one second.
You're going to die.
1 second.
Yeah, but
shh. That's basically what it was like for me.
Okay.
So you got some things right. I'm proud of you. Let's do this one next.
Eliza and her monsters. Wait, is this Eliza Hamilton?
No.
Eliza Doolittle.
No. So what's this about?
This, Eliza and her monsters. This didn't give a lot of insight in this little synopsis here, so it kind of makes me think of another fangirl type book. Whereas she's a fan fiction writer writing for this big web comic. But then what happens is this guy who's the biggest fan fiction writer of the same web comic happens to transfer to her school. So now she's, like, trying to talk to him because, let's be honest, she's probably a little bit of a fangirl, and she's coming off as a little bit of a fangirl to him, and he's just like, oh, whatever, there's another one of those fucking groupie bitches. And then he kind of starts to draw her out of her shell and realizes who she is. But we all know that when, like, our secret online lives come out into the real world, it's not always the best situations that arise. So my guess is there's something in her stories that she doesn't really want public, or she doesn't want people, maybe she's too shy to want people to know that she does this stuff online. So it's like kind of like one of those people who, like, writes, like, sex stories secretly online, and then people find out that they're the one writing those sex stories, and maybe they're about people they know. Getting a little bit very, like, oh my god, freaking out now, and the world's kind of turned upside down because of some of the stuff that maybe has been written that they didn't think would ever get public. So I'm guessing that that's really what this is about, and this is a very awfully thick book for what seems like it would be a very short story. But I'm gonna just guess there's a lot of drama involved when her stuff gets out. So
you're kind of on the right theme. So I actually do want you to read this book because I really enjoy it.
Okay, then don't tell me too much.
I'm not going to. I flew through this book in 8 hours.
Okay.
So it is kind of like Fangirl. A lot of people compare this to Fangirl.
Okay.
But
I love Fangirl, so.
But a lot of people like this book and hate Fangirl.
Oh.
So you're right about him being the #1 fanfic author, but she's not fanfic writer. But she's not a fanfic writer. She's the artist of the comic.
Oh.
Yeah, and you get the pieces of art in here. One sec.
So wait, of the actual comic?
Yeah, of the actual comic.
That he's writing fanfic for?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds more interesting, actually.
Yes. So she's the writer, and no one knows who she is. Like, even her online friends don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Because she doesn't want anyone to know. He moves to her place, and she recognizes him, and she's like, oh shit, if he finds out who I am, then they going to, like, it's gonna be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both, like, I like this because it has a lot to talk about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
They've both got different, like, mental health issues.
Okay.
Like, there's talks about depression and anxiety and a lot of that. And then they become really, really close friends, and it comes out that she is the author of the comic, and she just kind of starts to spiral, and she's not really sure what to do. And that's all I'm going to say because...
Yeah, I want to read it, so let's not get too much into it.
Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed this. Let's do this one.
Okay. This is called Unwind. Wow! Wow!
Yeah. So what is Unwind about?
All right. So apparently we don't have any more reproductive rights.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is pretty much saying that, you literally don't have any reproductive rights, and actually not until the child is 13 years old do you have any rights to that child. Seems like the government has that child between those ages. But then once this kid hits 13, you can be like, nah, fam, I don't want you anymore. And they can take this child away and take all its organs to give to other people. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. It's a really fucked up concept. But what do you think happened?
I think that there's 3 kids who are decided that their parents are going to have them unwound. And they're like, fuck this shit, we ain't going to be unwound. And they work together to try to escape so that they don't be. Hopefully they fight up against the society and say, fuck this shit, this is wrong. This actually sounds very interesting, and I would like to read this book. So, don't give me too much information about it.
Okay.
But the idea behind it seems like they decided that they're not going to take this lying down, pretty much. They're going to fight.
So, this is actually a book that I go back and forth because I used to love this book, but now as an older person, I'm just like... An older person who reads more critically. I'm just like, there's some issues. But yeah, so what this is America had a second Civil War, but it was over reproductive rights. So the pro-choice and anti-choice people, because we don't call them pro-life, because as we know, they don't care about life. They just care about a fetus. So the pro-choice and anti-choice people come up, are against each other, and a concession is made where there is no abortion at all at any point, but when a child is after the age of 13, you can decide to have that child unwound, and it's acceptable because 99% of
don't decide to.
No, because 99% of the person is used to help other people.
Right.
So, like, everything, like bones, skin, everything is used, except for, like, 1% of
So
waste.
it's keeping that person in the society, just in a different manner.
Yes. So they're like, that person is still there. They may not be there, but they're helping. They're still there.
Yeah.
And so there's 3 kids. I don't remember which one is which because it's been a while since I read this. But one of them is like a problem child, and so his parents are just like, we can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so they give him to be unwound. Then there's Risa. I remember her because she's the only girl. She's a foster kid, and so they decide to have her unwound because they need more room in the foster system. And then there is another one whose family literally had him so he could be unwound. Like their crazy like religious things is that they're going to have a child to sacrifice for society. And so it's a story of all 3 of them. So 2 of them don't want to be unwound and one of them does.
Oh.
Because he's been raised his entire life to see it as his great sacrifice.
Okay.
Like, you know, those crazy people. But I do think you'd like this book.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely check that one out.
Okay. You going to check it out from Library de Rory?
Library of Rory. I even have a library card. I don't really, but I should.
This is actually the last book that I read.
Okay. Is this the one you were crying over?
No, that was Foolish Hearts.
So this, To Kill a Kingdom, is about a siren. Which I love sirens. Because they drive men to die.
You need to read this book.
So I definitely want to read this book. This sounds definitely like my type of book. So this sounds like she's a siren and she pisses off somebody who has a little bit more power and says, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to turn you into what you hate the most. A human. So she's turned into a human, and in the process of this happening, she happens to run along a siren hunter. Of course, because who wouldn't? So this definitely, he rescues her because he sees she's human. Doesn't realize that she was a past siren, and since that's what he loves hunting, she makes a deal with him. I'm gonna guess out of revenge, she's pissed off that she was turned into a human, so she's like, I'm gonna help you bring down all the fucking sirens. The question is gonna be, is she trustworthy? Because who knows what's going on in her head. She could be angry, she could be playing him. Either way, she sounds like a badass, and I really think she would be a very interesting character to read more about, and I would like to help her. I would like to read more about this one.
Okay, so in the most non-spoilerly way.
Okay.
Yes, so she's a siren, but specifically she is a siren, and every year they have to take a human heart for themselves, and she only takes the hearts of princes.
Oh.
So, her mother, the Sea Queen, gets mad at her and tells her that she can't. And so she's trying to make up for it by getting the heart of a prince that she can't resist. But that is the siren hunter. He is a prince who is a siren hunter. And specifically, he hates her. Ooh. He hates her specifically, and he's trying to get rid of all the sirens. So she almost steals his heart, and then she's punished by being turned into the human. Okay. And the Sea Queen is like, you still have to take his heart, but you have to do it without your powers. Ooh. So she joins his crew, and through plot finds a way they fall in love, and it's that good.
So this is the haters to lovers that Rory loves.
It's the good. They literally flirt by threatening to kill each other.
Oh, I know that one well.
Yeah, and it's great. I'm buying this book.
Okay.
It became one of my favorite. I guarantee you, in January when I film my top 10 of 2020, this is going to be on it.
Okay. I can't wait to read it.
Love this book.
She's giving me more and more books to read. I can't keep up with them all.
Yeah.
All right. So, Lock and Key. This sounds ridiculously boring. Lock and Key. I don't know. Seems like a girl's mom goes missing, so she's shipped off to her sister, and her sister must be super wealthy, and she gets this like beautiful room. She gets to go to a private school, and she's getting all the spoils of being wealthy. She meets a really nice guy. Everything seems to be perfect, but she sounds like me, where it's like, if something's going well in your life, you're just expecting there to be something wrong. Like, this is not right for things to go perfectly. So there's something off about what's going on, and she's obviously feeling that about it. I don't know, or maybe the way this is worded, it could just be that she's in a super duper depression, and this is talking about how you really need to reach out to people when you're feeling like that bad. But in my opinion, it's probably her thinking this is something too good to be true, so something is going to go wrong, and my guess is something goes wrong. So there's not a very big description, so that's about all I can come up with for that.
I know for a fact you're never gonna read it, so I'm just gonna spoil the heck out of this.
Okay.
Because you are definitely not a Sarah Dessen person.
Okay.
So I like Sarah Dessen books because it kind of like it's like vanilla version of talking about like actual social issues. Like my favorite Sarah Dessen book talks about the aftermath of a girl's rape.
Okay.
But this is so Ruby's mother just leaves her. She abandons her.
Okay.
That's the beginning of this. And she's used to kind of like being abandoned by her mom. Like her mom will get, drunk, and so she'll have to do her work for her so that they have food. And so she kind of like is like, oh well, I can, keep going by myself. I can keep working my mom's shifts. No one's gonna know the difference because she works at an airport, just like driving luggage back and forth. No one needs to even see me. So I'll just keep working for her, do that, and I'll just take care of myself. It's fine. I don't need anyone. But then the power goes out, or like the dryer goes out or something like that. And so she has to hang up her clothes to dry, and the owners of the place that they're staying at come over and see it and realize that she's been left alone, so she's turned into Child Protective Services or whatever. And she's forced to go stay with her sister, who she hasn't seen since she was like 10. Now her sister basically abandoned her in her head, and so she doesn't want to be there. She's like, I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone. Like, I don't want to be here. You don't care about me being here. You didn't care about me, or else you would have, been there for me. You don't care about mom, and it's whatever. And so she then meets the boy, Nate, who lives next door, and they have a little bit of a thing. And through the plot of the book, she starts to grow more attached to her sister. And she starts to grow attached to specifically her sister's husband.
Oh.
No, not like that. As in, they are now her parents. There's a lot of themes of like isolation and feeling like you're not good enough for anyone, and feeling like you're always going to be abandoned by someone. And along with that, her sister is going through fertility treatments because they're trying to have a baby, but they just can't get pregnant. And that's really sad. And then Nate, the boy next door, his father abuses him.
Wow.
Yeah.
This book is deep.
Yeah. Everyone complains about Sarah Dessen books because they're like, oh, it's just books that, like 12-year-olds read. They're just like love stories for 12-year-olds. But there's some deep shit in some of them. Like,
it's kind of depressing me.
I like this one because most of the other books, the couple end up together. But this one, the next door neighbor is sent away. So they're kind of like ambiguous on if they're still together. Okay. Like, the only other book that Sarah Dessen has where the romance guy is not the person she ends up with is a book called, I think it's The Moon and More. Where the love interest is an asshole and the main character realizes he's an asshole and then breaks up with him, and she ends up single at the end of the book, and I'm really glad. Sarah Dessen is actually not a fave on book 2. People like kind of hate her. Because, and a lot of people, I don't really know the entire controversy. I know that recently a girl, there was an article in which a girl talked about how she joined a committee, I think, to keep a Sarah Dessen book from being the book that they read about, and she insulted Sarah Dessen. And then Sarah Dessen went on Twitter and was like, this sucks. Like, it sucks that people are just gonna, it doesn't matter what you do, people are gonna, just
hate on you.
And the thing is that she probably shouldn't have done that. Like, I see where she's coming, because I feel that too. Like, when you're a fan of just like, easy breezy romances,
Mhm.
like people judge you, and when you're a fan of YA, people judge you a lot, and so people are always going to insult you, but she has, you know, so many fans. She shouldn't have used that power against someone who doesn't have as much support.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable, but, you know, I don't know why people have to hate on anyone. I mean, just because that wouldn't be my cup of tea doesn't mean I'm going to judge Rory because she enjoys it.
Yeah.
I
own
mean,
every Sarah Dessen book.
See, we get into this conversation a lot about how it's really not fair for you to judge anybody else's likes or interests.
Yeah, I've mentioned this a lot on my on like my channel, how just because I hate something doesn't mean someone else like I can tell someone else that they're wrong for that
right.
liking
I mean,
that.
it's just like I can roast Rory all I want because she knows she's my best friend, and that's all it is roasting. But I don't judge her for any of her decisions and who she likes and what book she likes. We're gonna like different things, and
yeah, like you roast me like I'll get out because you think Kingdom Hearts sucks, but now you're playing it.
So,
but before you were just like Kingdom Hearts is babyish and it sucks, but you would never once tell me that it's not okay for me to like it.
Exactly. I would never judge her for liking something that she likes. I will roast her, make fun of her, but that's all out of love. But you know, you guys, we gotta be good to each other, and there's no reason to pick on people for things they like. Really, there isn't. And there's no reason to judge them either. Let people like what they like. It's not hurting you any.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
even in this book, you came away with 3 books that you wanted to read.
I did. I'm very excited now.
Yeah.
As long as it's entertaining to you, we don't need to nitpick it apart. Just like everything else. You don't need to nitpick things apart. Just let people love each other.
Okay, thank you for being part of this video.
Yay!
And so yeah, that's the end of the video. Like always, I hope you had a great time with me today and with my roommate today. There's a link down below to where you can register to vote. It's a voting year, so please register to vote, make your voice heard, get the Cheeto Man out. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye!
Bye!